Hi, thanks so much for watching. Today I'll be showing you a process video that I made to create this mini tag album using all Kiwi Lane products. So here I will be showing you how I created my base for my layout. For my tags. Um, I wanted to make the tags a little on the sturdier side because they were going to be, manhandled, and I wanted to make this for my husband. We will be having an anniversary soon, and um, so basically it's for him, really for me, but for him, because men don't really appreciate these type of things. So so it's not going to have any pictures at the end because I want to put pictures of our time together. It's going to be, wow, 28 years. So there's a lot of pictures that I want to squeeze in here. So I use the tag template, and I'll tell you which one in 1 second. It's the tag number 1. On this, I'm just using regular cardstock. It's an 8.5 by 11 or 8 by 10, whatever. I want to say it's like Hewlett Packard or something I picked up at like Walmart. So I'm just cutting them out, and I started out with 6 and ended up making another 1, I believe just 1 more, because I kind of forgot that I was on my last one and ended up putting a photo mat on it, so I didn't want the back cover to have a photo mat. So once I'm done cutting these out, I will be inking all my edges with Tea Stain by Tim Holtz. And I figured for this project I was going to match up my inks to the papers I was using. So I'm going to use a bunch of different ones. I will try to mention them when I see them pop up, but they will also be down in my description so you can see which colors I felt were the closest matches to this paper collection. And I am using the March kit from Kiwi Club, and I absolutely loved these little cactuses. It was adorable. I loved everything about it, the paper colors, the little cards, the sentiments on it. The collection's called Let's Stick Together, and I will link right over here on my right. You will see a little iCard, and it will have the link to the unboxing of this collection. So now I'm going to start covering my tags, and I'm going to alternate my paper, and I'm for the most part going to use both the A and B sides to each paper, and I'm just going to cut them out with the same tag, ink my edges, and I believe for this white one I will be using the tea dye, and I will just attach them with adhesive, and I believe I'm using the Tombow Mono tape runner. So I want to make sure that all my edges are well adhered to it so that nothing pops up. And I'm also going to make sure that there are no weird edges that I may have missed when I was cutting my cards. So I'm basically going to do this for every one of my pages. So you don't really need to see me do all that. So I am going to fast forward and speed it up a little bit so that this video isn't so long. So I just want to mention some of the Tim Holtz distress inks that I will be using to match up my papers. For the light green, like you see here, I will be using the Cracked Pistachio. And for the darker green papers, which you'll see me do shortly, I will be using the pine needles. For anything that is in the orange family, I'm using the spiced marmalade. Anything that's kind of has that pinkish color, I'll be using worn lipstick. And for anything that has that light blue color, grayish color, I'll be using the weathered wood. And of course, you saw me using the tea dye a little while ago. So I sped it up by ×4. So I wish I could cut this fast. But yeah, so I just want to mention that making this little tag album was definitely a lot of fun. It definitely made me think outside of the 12 by 12 layout. And the paper collections are great for this because they're so nice and like heavy cardstock. So this would really work great for any type of mini album. I personally enjoyed making my cactus look a little more three-dimensional, and you will eventually see that, and it will be the cover of my tag album. So eventually you will see me pop a hole with I want to say I've had this little hole punch for probably since I was in high school. I've had it a long, long time. I don't even know how I acquired it, but I'm thinking it was back from school days. So what I will be doing is I will be tracing the little circle where usually the ring goes through, or the eyelet, and I will be using that to guide where I pop my little holes out so that so they all line up together. So I'm going to skip through some of this since you've pretty much are only going to see me making my bases and covering them up with pattern paper. There really isn't anything else. So give me a second while I edit this a little bit and speed it up. So at this point, you could see that I've pulled out a bunch of other templates, and I want to try to use all kinds, everything from borders to tiny accessories as well as regular size accessories. So right now I'm cutting one of the chevron shapes, and I believe that's one of the fun borders. And I will be using it in pieces throughout my layout. And as I will also be using, and you can see there on my desk, I have the notions. The notions, I will be using highlights. I'll be using charmed. And I'm sorry, not notions, notations. And breezy brackets, as well as a couple of different a la carte, including the ones that came in the kit this month. So this one that I'm using here is a notations, and I am just tracing it around the words of one of the tags, and as soon as I saw that, I knew I really wanted to use it. And basically that one says, "May the llama of happiness forever spit in your direction." I thought that was absolutely adorable. And I will be using that as just on one of my pages. And right now they're in no specific order. I am just cutting things out that I want to use and starting to decorate my pages. And here I'm going to ink my edges with cracked pistachio, and just so that my edges are nice and finished. Once you start inking your edges, you'll realize that it just looks complete, and you'll probably never be able to do anything without inking your edges ever again. Every color you choose looks a little different. So if you're doing, same color or same shade, it definitely will look different than using an tea dye or like one of the browns. That'll give it more of a vintagey look. Or you can also use, as I prefer to use, the smoked hickory smoke, which is more of the gray tone. And I don't know, it just makes. So for this tag, I will be using that bluish green card for my photo mat for this page. And I'm pulling out one of those mini photos, and I believe that's a 3x3 sized. And as you can see, it was a little too big, but I figured it could help me block off how much I really want to use of this card to create my photo mat. Then I quickly realized that none of the photo mats are really going to work. So I'm just going to have to kind of wing it, because a perfect size would have probably been like 3x4. It would have given me enough space around it, but they don't come in 3x4. They come in 3x3, or maybe even a 2.5 by 3.5 would have been a good size. So instead, I'm just going to wing it and go with the flow. So for this blue, I am using the weathered wood, which is one of my favorite colors other than the hickory smoke. I have a lot of favorite colors, by the way. So I'm going to glue down my card, and then I will be popping up my my arrow. And it's just going to take me a second to figure that one out. And I'll be using my fun foam to pop it up. You definitely want to use a large piece of foam, because since it's going to be handled a lot, you want it to have the support. Whereas if I only use 2 or 3 little pop dots, it probably would start to look a little dented in some areas and not look as fresh and nice. And I want this book to, to last a while. I'd like to put it on the coffee table and have it out for a bit. So now I'll be adhering my arrow down to my tag, and I'm just gonna try some Tombow, and I don't think the Tombow is really working that great. Well, it did. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Depends on how thin, excuse me, how thin the foam is. So I'm going to pick through and look for something else to put on the back of that card, and I will be making a camera, which now that I look at it, I could have added a little more to it, but it's fine. So I end up using this pinkish salmon color 3x4 card, and I'm going to cut the camera out of it. Sometimes when I look at it, when I'm making something, I feel like it's good, it looks good, and then later on when I go back and I'm doing like the voiceover and I'm actually looking at the item, I'm like, there's stuff missing on it, like the viewfinder, like maybe a little something else to it. It just looks a little plain, but you'll see that once it's completed. And I am using the Worn Lipstick Distressing for this pinkish color. And I'm going to call it pinkish because to me it looks a little on the salmon, but it also could be pink, a little orangey pink. I love the color though. I will admit I probably wish that they would have added a little more papers with this color. So I'm going to cut my little flash out of the orange. And again, I'm going to ink it up, adhere it. So as I finish gluing down my lens, or my flash rather, I'm going to start cutting out my lens out of one of the 3x4 cards as well. And I've sped this up a little bit because I think that at this point you kind of have the gist or the idea of how to cut out the templates, and I figured it would be better than having a 2-hour video to watch. So now for the rest of this page, I'm just going to do a light green photo mat, and I will be adhering. Well, first I'm going to ink it up, and I'm going to adhere it to the background, but then I'm not going to completely glue down my camera. It will only be glued down onto the orange, so it'll be like the bottom, I would say about a little bit more than the bottom half, so that whatever picture I decide to put onto the green, I can just slip behind it. Well, I guess I wasn't happy with that viewfinder, so I'm making a new one. Excuse me. Allergy season has arrived here in New Jersey. So moving right along, I did pop up the lens. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I did pop that up. I'm going to cut this or trace this, but I won't end up using it on this specific side of the of my card, or tag rather. Excuse me. So as you can see, I turned over my card, and I am now going to adhere a little bit of foam so that it can sit on top of my arrow and not collapse. So yes, I'm gonna leave a little space so that it can slip. The two pieces of foam will slip between the arrow. And that will actually work really well for a little quote. And I just set my tape runner on top of it for a little bit of weight. So here I'm going to cut out a piece of foam to back that first little sentiment that I had cut out, which was the may the llama of happiness forever spit in your direction, because I wanted to pop it up and I wanted it to be like a main focal point on the page. And I'm going to use that, I guess that would be a flower-ish, as a background to go behind it to give it a little more emphasis. Now I'm just looking to see if there's anything else I want to add to this. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue it down. And in my little fine line bottle, which you can find on Amazon, and I will link it in my description, I have the art glitter glue, which works perfectly in these fine line bottles. It works really good when you're doing things that are a little bit more intricate, or you want a little more control of how much glue is coming out. So here I'm going to piece together my cactus. And I am going to use different colors, and I'm just going to cut out the parts I need for each color. So the first thing I did was cut out my little pot, and now I'm going to cut out the middle portion of my cactus. Onto this piece of scrap green, and then I'm going to do my little arm thingies. And I'm trying to preserve the sentiment so that I could use it on something else. So I am cutting around it. Now I'm going to erase all my pencil marks, as you can see here, and I'm going to glue the light green and the green together, and I'm going to glue my cactus into my pot. But first I'm going to ink everything. I'm using the no, that's not abandoned coral. That's cracked pistachio on the lighter green, and I know I mentioned them earlier, and I don't have my list in front of me right now. I want to say that pine needles for the darker green. And I'm going to cut these little flowers out of the little orange, out of a big orange piece of paper, but obviously they're tiny, so it was quite challenging to get those cut out. Oops, excuse me. Yep, so I'm gluing those down. And unfortunately you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just trimming the green from behind the little orange flower because I didn't realize which one I was cutting when I was cutting them, and I think I glued down the wrong one because they're not all the same exact shape. So because the rest of it is pretty repetitive, I'm only going to uh, I'm going to edit out some of the actual composition of this tag mini album. And once I reach the end, because I don't know what happened, my video got corrupted. I did record over a couple days, and one of the videos did not. I could not open it again to create a voiceover. It just kept saying that it was corrupted. So at some point, this video is going to end, and I will take you straight through to a flip through of each page in still shot, and you'll be able to see each page close, well, pretty close up, and in full view. Before I'm done, I just want to say thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions on things that you'd like to see, please feel free to leave me a comment, or you can send me a message either here on YouTube or on Facebook. I'm trying my best to hone my skill of making videos, so I appreciate you sticking around, with the lighting issues or the different little technology things. It's not easy when you're trying to figure it out, and luckily YouTube is my best friend. So thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. When I reach 500 subscribers, I will be having a giveaway, and it will be a $50 Kiwi Lane gift card, and it will be to my Kiwi Lane shop. It is not sponsored by Kiwi Lane Designs in any way. This is me personally thanking you, my subscribers, for subscribing and for watching my videos. So the next couple of weeks, I should have some new content, and I really would love to hear some suggestions of what other kinds of content you'd like to see. Would you like to see more mini albums? Would you prefer to stick to layouts? Is there a specific size layouts that you're interested in looking at? I have been crafting for about 12 years, so I think I've tried it all at some point in my life. And I'm not afraid to share. So this is actually going to be my title or my main front page. And I cut out that little tag, and it says, where is it? It says, "Let's grow old." And then I put together using some letter stickers right under it. And I don't mind things hanging off the sides. As you can see, this one specifically, you can see that the little ribbon ends are sticking out. And I actually like to see that because it kind of makes it look more organic. It looks natural. It's not like I'm trying to stick to a certain size. So I'm very happy with the way this little mini album turned out. So again, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you stay till the end where you can see a close-up, and you can see some stills of the completed book. Well, completed without pictures, and I added also some tags in between just to give it a little bit more, make it a little fun, and you'll see how I finished my embellishment. I used some stickers, and I used some of the enamel dots that came with the kit, as well as some ribbon and some Tim Holtz, I think it's called Small Talk. They're little strips of words, so make sure you let me know what you think. Have a great night.